going on YouTube? It's your man King Bishop, checking back in with the new version of the channel. So, in going with the new version of the channel, once again being informative, I wanted to break down and reel back into the very basics. And for the people who are firearm knowledgeable, this will be too advanced for you. This will be too risky for you. But to those people who are just learning, this will be really good for you, just so you understand and have an understanding. So today we are going to talk about the basics of ammunition. So ammunition as a whole, right here, this is a case. Okay, when you see a case, most people will call it a bullet, but this is not a bullet. It's just a case, an empty case that is not used, right? A shell case. This is what you will see ejected from the firing port of a weapon after you shoot it. This will come out and the projectile will go forward. Okay, so the projectile will come out of this end and the empty case will come out of here. And that's why you have this motion. So as this motion is going, the projectile is coming this way. The case will be coming out that way. See what I'm saying? So this, so y'all can get a visual of what it'll look like. My big hands. That's what it'll look like. And with the force that the spring and system inside the firearm creates, that will shoot out. Okay? It'll go wherever it goes. So, and understand the basics, shell case. Okay? So, shell case and projectile, or what most will call a bullet, right? So, how does this work? And just for something a little bigger, we're using a .40 caliber today, but how does this work? So, part one, you have a case, okay? Inside of this case, and before this case can be actuated, there's something called a primer. You see this here? The little one in the center? That's a primer. See how this one doesn't have it? That's the empty slot for the primer, right? So, case, primer, right? Primer, and projectile or bullet. Okay, those are the three outside pieces. Bullets are very simple, actually. You know, it's only 4 pieces, okay? So, primer, case, projectile, and inside is gunpowder. So, we have the case. The case, its only purpose is to hold all this stuff together, really, to be honest with you. So, inside of the case, you will have the gunpowder. So, the gunpowder goes inside of the case, right? Once it's inside of the case, think about it as the engine, okay? Right, so if the case itself is one piece, you have the powder, the primer. What the primer does is it creates a spark similar to a spark plug in your engine. So when the firing pin of a firearm, which you may be able to see, it'll be this right here, okay? That little small pin will, when the trigger's pulled, it'll hit up against this, right? This will crush and it'll create a spark. That spark ignites the gunpowder that sits inside of the case, okay? So gunpowder by itself, nothing. Primer by itself, nothing. Put them two together, and now you have a big kaboom. So once that primer is tapped, it ignites, creates a spark. That spark lights the gunpowder, and because of that, it will shoot, right? This projectile will be propelled out of the end of the bullet itself, the whole thing. You know what I mean? So that's the purpose of it. So primer, case, projectile, inside powder. That's how it works. Those are the basics. All right. So even more basics. I wish I had grabbed my needle nose pliers so I can hold it so you guys can see. This is a full metal jacket round. Okay. One of the basics. Okay. The second one that you would commonly see, now there are others, but these are the two basics. Full metal jacket, hollow point. That's why they call it a hollow point, because the point of it is hollowed. It ain't rocket science. As you can see, these are for the same. These are both 40 caliber. This is a 180 grain full metal jacket round. This one, I believe, is a 165 grain hollow pointed round. Okay? So, full metal jacket rounds. What are they good for? Gun ranges, target shooting, practice, things of that nature. Hollow point rounds, what are they good for? Self-defense. Now, the reason why you have two of them, and what the differences are mainly is, and why they are considered self-defense versus practice and target, is because this one is made through the same material, weighted all the way through. Okay, it's heavy, 180 grains, which means that if it does not meet something harder than it will continue to travel. Okay, the purpose of a hollow pointed round is once it meets something hard, and it doesn't have to be as hard as this because the point of it is already hollow, which makes it softer. It's meant to flower out or squish. So think if you were squishing a gummy bear or anything that you're able to squish, how it flattens. That's what this will do. So that's why it's made to be a self-defense round. So you're at home, God forbid someone decides to come through your front door, and they're threatening you and your family. So you decide to defend yourself. Now, what happens if right where they're standing, there's a wall that connects to your daughter's or your son's bedroom? Right? So we don't want this round traveling through our intended target, who we want to hit, going through the wall, and then in turn hitting someone whom we love or someone who has nothing to do with the incident or the situation, right? So that's why hollow point rounds are so important, because they're meant to flatten upon hard contact, which it doesn't eliminate. There's no such thing as eliminating, but it very much so diminishes the opportunity for this round to travel through one assailant and hit the person standing behind them who you love. Okay, so that's why these are considered self-defense rounds. Police are going to use this round, and I will tell you, I 100% only carry hollow pointed rounds, because in the event I do have to use my firearm, I do not want to hurt anyone who is not trying to hurt me. So, you got to imagine being in a situation and knowing that you have to use your firearm to save your life, and what the consequence in your own brain could be if someone that is standing behind them or around them gets injured as well that had nothing to do with the situation. That's one thing. And two, remember, every round that comes out of this firearm, you're accountable for. So, hey, may I have been in the right defending myself? Absolutely. Is hitting the person that was standing behind the person that tried to hurt me okay? No, I'm accountable for that round. So we do things like this, like buy hollow point rounds or self-defense rounds or self-defense type ammunition to eliminate that cause. So that's that. So just to give you a little window of what these things look like and how they differ and how weird the realm of ammunition is. So these are two different hollow point rounds, two different manufacturers. You can tell they're different. Don't take much to see. This hole is bigger, this one is smaller. Two different manufacturers. This is a 155 grain hollow pointed round. This is a 165 grain hollow pointed round. Okay. So generally speaking, the lighter 165, 155, right? The one that weighs the less will travel the fastest, right? But also, we also know that the one that weighs the most will hit the hardest, right? say for instance, me versus a, I don't know, 21-year-old kid who's 5'10", 200 pounds, right? I'm going to hit harder because I am larger in size, right? But they're obviously going to move faster. They're way smaller than me, right? So there you go. Those are the two different things. So when you are looking at packaging and you have the weights, I always say that when it comes to self-defense rounds, generally speaking, the range and what you'll be dealing with, having to use this firearm to defend yourself, speed won't matter because it's not as if you're shooting 50, 60 yards to try to stop an issue, you know? You're not shooting that far, right? So speed doesn't matter. What I want is something that's going to hit the hardest, right? I want you to know that I was there. And I want to be able to stop the threat with the least amount of rounds as possible. So a bigger round will leave a bigger hole. It is what it is, right? So I always say when you're looking and searching, try to find the highest grainage that you can find that your firearm will be able to handle effectively, because that is your stopping power, right? Now, what is weird to me is that the heavier, right? The heavier round takes more gas, takes less gas, less gunpowder than the lighter round. When I first started learning, I would always think, hey, because this is moving so much faster, it has to be more gunpowder in it. Yeah, but I never thought that this one moving so heavy, it would take less than what it takes for the lighter one. You know, you think about cars, right? And we say, would you think a two-door truck would take more gas and more power to get moving, or a big heavy-duty 650 dually truck or tractor trailer? You know, that's the comparison. So that was a little weird to me. But in those cases, that's what you're looking at. In all ammunition, you will find different weights, different sizes, and different calibers, right? Now, like I said, though, all of these will be fired out of the same firearm, and all of these go inside of the same case. This is a 40 caliber case. This is a 40 caliber projectile. So is this. This is a 180 grain full metal jacket. This is a 155 grain jacket hollow point, and this is a 165 grain jacket hollow point. They all go in this case, all made to be shot out of a 40 caliber handgun, right? So in learning ammunition, the basics to understanding is knowing that there are several different weights and several different options that go inside of firearms. What you choose is going to be up to what you're going to be using it for. As always, it's your man King Bishop. I think next we may go ahead and do the basis of firearms, what everything on this firearm does, how you utilize it safely, and all those things, and even breaking it down so we know how to break down a firearm in very simple steps, and also mainly how to put it back together. Gotta know how to put it back together so it'll fire. So I think in the next video we'll work down the basics of firearms and magazines and how they work. Hey, it's King Bishop, man. Please subscribe if you are not. Watch another video. I appreciate you as always. God bless you.